Yesterday.
Oh,
So that's so smart. Because I have time you get to the
Good morning, everyone.
morning.
I'd like to call the MetroPlan Orlando Board meeting of May 13th, 2026 to order. If you could please take a moment and check your electronic devices and make sure they're silenced. In addition, I'm going to ask everyone to speak directly into the microphone. It's really important for us to be able to record these. And for guests in the audience who have hearing impairments, Lisa, if someone can't be heard, just please make a point of letting us know. We have two opportunities at these meetings for public comments. Public comments on action items appearing on today's agenda are heard before we get to action items, and public comments of a general nature are heard near the end of the meeting. Anyone attending today's meeting in person who wishes to make a public comment is asked to complete a speaker's card. These are available at the reception desk on the table near the door. Cards should be given to Lisa Smith. Members of the public who are attending online and wish to make a comment should fill out an electronic speaker's card. And Lisa, if you'll wave your hand so everyone knows who you are. Perfect. We want this and all future meetings to be accessible to all. Participants may join by computer, tablet, or phone. If you need special accommodation to participate, please contact MetroPlan Orlando. I'm going to start out by asking Commissioner Janer to lead us in a pledge of allegiance.
Oh, thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So reports from here. I just want to start by saying thank you for the confidence in allowing me to chair the position. I know we've had transition, and it's something that is usually not happening this time of year. So I'm grateful for the opportunity to serve and to continue to support the efforts of this incredible board. Our regional collaboration is unmatched. I just wanted to also let you know that I attended the FDOT Safety Steering Committee. It was on April 3rd at the Villages in Sumter County. An incredibly, I think, informative, illuminating experience to, of course, get out of your jurisdiction and go and share with partners in areas that they can actually show and describe some of their challenges. We heard from the traffic division of the Sumter County Sheriff's Office regarding important uses of data. We generally hear about the 3 E's: engineering, enforcement, and education. The sheriff spoke of the importance of the 4th E, which is always to evaluate how you're doing, to step back and take a look and make changes as they are necessary. We also heard reports from the Safety Task Force members. Mr. Hutman and I also had the opportunity between the last meeting and this to meet with Congressman Frost at his request. It's an honor to be able to sit down with him and staff on April 6th to discuss local transportation issues. Congressman Frost serves on the House Transportation and Infrastructure Committee. His team keeps in communication with us here at MetroPlan on a few things on a regular basis, including surface transportation reauthorization, which I know is important to everybody. Mayor Dyer, as you know from your own meeting with Congressman Frost, he also expressed interest in the future of Mills Avenue corridor. As a vibrant corridor, I think we've all been able to watch some exciting things happening there. So being able to thread that right through MetroPlan is exciting for all of us. We want to see things done to make it safer for pedestrians in the area. The city and FDOT are working on a mid-block crosswalk there, I believe, on Mills Avenue and Canton Street, as well as rapid flashing beacons. I believe this is an opportunity to see what else is possible in the future. And then an update, as your chair to make sure that you're hearing a little bit about the efforts from my neck of the woods. Orange County is working on a micromobility ordinance, an updated ordinance, and to improve the safety of e-bikes and e-scooters and other micromobility devices. Last November, I shared a memo to my board outlining a potential solution to micromobility safety concerns, including collaboration with law enforcement and our partners at our school district. In December, the board reached a consensus to direct our Public Works Division to investigate a range of issues, including public and rider safety, right-of-way, infrastructure, compatibility, public education opportunities, enforcement roles and mechanisms, as well as approaches taken by other transportation agencies. This was following on the heels of actually the city of Winter Garden adopting their own micromobility ordinance. As part of this effort, county staff is coordinating with the sheriff's office in Orange County Public Schools. We supported SB 382 as well, but felt like it needed a little bit more actionable items based on jurisdictional needs. Regulation that really protects our children coming to and from school, choosing to use their e-bikes and scooters. A work session is coming up to the board on May 19th for anybody that's interested in following that. Following this discussion, we can expect drafted ordinance language and public hearings that'll take effect countywide. I had the honor also of attending the MPOAC Institute. If you have not taken advantage of this opportunity as a member of this board, I encourage it. It was an incredible opportunity. Similar to what you hear from other board members who've attended, I would absolutely endorse spending some time getting this done, regardless of it's, it was really convenient here, but if it's somewhere else in our region, I would take the opportunity to go back. It was that good. And being able to see how others across the state of Florida operate other MPOs, it was a very, I think, informative day. I enjoyed meeting our elected officials from the area that serve on MPOs and what they had to offer from their organizations. The Gainesville-Alachua County MPO was going through some changes, and I enjoyed hearing from them. Their leadership actually was somebody that we knew in Orange County and then at the city of Ocoee. So it's been great to see her career development into the MPO space. We have, of course, a very engaged board here at MetroPlan, and so the wisdom that we're able to glean, I believe, will be a great benefit to their fledgling organization. We're lucky to have them. I'm curious to see how the next census might affect our current MPO, but we will definitely cross that bridge once we get there, and I think that data is going to be very helpful. Moving right into the Central Florida Rail Commission. I believe this is.
Yep, I got it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning. The Central Florida Commuter Rail Commission met on March 26th and April 23rd, and a quorum was present at both meetings. We had some action items in the March meeting, which included, of course, approval of our minutes from January, approval to add Harrison Moulton, Associate Attorney of Kaplan Kirsch, to the legal team, approval of the last fiscal year 2026-2027 tentative budget contingent upon local fund partner governing boards. Ratification of CAC member from Seminole County, Patrick Austin. And then April action items included approval of the March meeting minutes. Agency updates from both meetings included an agency update on the success of late night service, over 700 riders to Magic Games in March, and the first ever 400 plus person group ride. So that was impressive. Average daily ridership for January through February 2026 was 5,341 passengers. Average daily ridership for March 2026 was 6,216. Total ridership for March was 136,754, the highest monthly total in 5 years. The Citizen Advisory Committee, Technical Advisory Committee, Links, and Voltran also provided updates to the Commission. Discussion items at the April meeting included Kaplan Kirsch transition update. The next CFCRC meeting is scheduled for May 28th at 1:30 p.m. at Links Central Station. That is my report.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Janer. Are there any questions from the board at this time? With no other questions, thank you again, Commissioner.
you.
The Metropolitan Planning Organization Advisory Council met on April 30th, and Commissioner Uribe chaired that meeting, and I believe has a report for us this morning.
Yes, good morning, Chair, and good morning, everyone at this board. So the MPOAC Governing Board and staff directors met on April 30th here in Orlando at the Florida Hotel. Minutes of the January 28th MPOAC Joint Staff Directors and Governing Board meeting were approved. We had an incredible presentation from DOT Secretary Perdue, where he very highly spoke about the proposed budget. We didn't even realize the extent of this. The proposed budget for DOT next year is $15.4 billion. They are currently managing over 12,000 contracts totaling roughly $22 billion in assets. They're processing $45 million worth of invoices each day. And this was the best information received, and I hope that we'll advocate with this. Every dollar that we invest in transportation, our rate of return is $4.26. And this is phenomenal. Another exciting thing that Secretary Perdue went into great, extensive information was that we advanced air mobility. I mean, imagining being able to move from here to Tampa in the air in 30, 45 minutes, it would be unheard of. But I think what's even important is that we are one of the few states selected nationally that are doing this, and Secretary Perdue and his team are heading it. We approved the 2026 Passenger Rail Priority Program project list. We approved our new legal service agreement, and we approved the MPOAC 2627, 2728 UPWP program. We had a report from the executive director that included comments on her MPO visits throughout the state of Florida, including the only one that she has left to do is Gainesville, Alachua. A budget review, discussion of possible statewide memberships. We decided to hold off on any additional memberships, and highlights of upcoming activities that the MPOAC will presenting at both the NARC, National Association of Regional Conference, and the National AMPO Conference this year, one respectively in Oklahoma and one in California. We've been invited to do a panel, so we're very excited. And we're going to be talking about Florida and what makes us great. So I'll be traveling to Tulsa to do a panel, and then I'll be in California in September. Our next MPOAC meeting will be held in Orlando on July 30th. But I did want to add that we just approved on August 12th, another institute to be taken, and that will take place in Gainesville. So anyone interested in participating in any of the institutes on transportation, our next one will be April 12th in Gainesville. So thank you very much. That's all I have to report.
Thank you so much, Commissioner. That's great news for anybody that did not participate at the last one. That's not too far. We are now moving into the MetroPlan Orlando Safety Moment. At this point, we'll hear from Mike Wilson on this month's Safety Moment. This month, Mike will talk about speed and pedestrian safety.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, speed was the very first safety moment that I did a couple of years ago. So we're returning back to the origins. And as you might recall, through the development of our Vision Zero plan, we developed a high injury network, and this network accounted for only 2% of our road system, but 47% of our serious and fatal crashes. And the average posted speed on those roads is 43 miles an hour, and the 85th percentile speed on those same roads, 53 miles per hour. A bit of a differential there. And this is applying to all crashes, all modes, but we want to drill down and talk about pedestrians. And with the mile vision data that we have, which actually gives us pedestrian and bicyclist counts, we're able to do some real risk analysis. And so we looked at 36 corridors where we had pedestrian counts, and we applied 10 years of crash data to those. And we were just looking for crashes where the pedestrian is crossing the main road, right, where the speed is. And really irrespective of fault, whether no matter who it was that was failing to yield. And then we just crashes where the motorist was not turning. So they were moving down the main line. So here you can see the results of that. And the overall crash risk goes at 5 mile per hour increments. And I expected to see kind of a steady increase as we went up those 5 mile per hour increments. But look at the big jump that we get going from 35 to 40 miles per hour. an eightfold increase in overall risk and a sevenfold increase when we're looking at nighttime risk. And if we just focus on the serious and fatal, and I've sort of collapsed the miles per hour there from the having to do with the data limitations, we see a 12-fold risk for crashes overall and a 10-fold risk for nighttime. And we see a similar increase when we look at bicyclist crashes involving overtaking motorists at the same type of big risk at 40 miles per hour. So, and if we look at comparing, say, nighttime and 40 plus compared to daytime under 40, it's a more than 30-fold risk increase for someone crossing the road. So what I'm suggesting is that for all of us, when we're out there on the roads, whether we're a driver, a pedestrian, a cyclist, if we see this sign or a number higher than that, think of it as a warning sign, because the risk has really gone up a great deal. So that concludes my safety moment. Be happy to take any questions.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions or comments from the board at this time? Very compelling. I appreciate the safety moments. I think especially when we get to see that data and understanding that there's not a red outline around the 40 mile per hour speed limit, but maybe there should be. Thank you.
Thank you.
I will now recognize our Executive Director, Gary Hutman, for his announcements and agenda review.
Good morning, Chairwoman Wilson and board members. This morning, we don't have any board. We do have a board alternate. Mayor Dallas is here representing MAC in place of Commissioner Smith. And I also want to welcome Commissioner Anderson from the city of Apopka, the new appointee representing the city on MetroPlan board. Thank you for being here. Then I want to recognize a member of the audience. Kevin Tebow walked in. Some of you may have already seen him, but former DOT secretary and GOA CEO sitting in the back corner.
Wave your hand, wave your hand.
Thanks for being here, Kevin. At your seats, Mary Ann distributed them just a few minutes ago. We have a combined report that shows off some of the major work we have done over the past several months. The document opens on one side to give an executive summary of the 2050 MTP, and on the other side is a report to the community that focuses on safety, technology, and our outreach efforts, and simplifies some of the data from our Vision Zero annual report. In the next couple of weeks, these reports will be on our website, along with a short video to help the public understand the depth of this work. And I enjoyed Mary Ann's description of the report just the other day, that it has no back cover. It's a report with two front covers. So it's a very nice looking report. News from Washington, D.C. I was in D.C. since our last board meeting on March 16th through the 18th. To meet with congressional staff related to reauthorization and support of the BASICS Act. Monday of this week, I received a message that the House may release base text for the surface transportation reauthorization sometime throughout the week. If that happens, AMPA will gear up with the policy committee and provide a debrief of that. Our market survey has closed, and once again, we had a good response. Staff and Summit Research are busy preparing that for our use. We plan to have a presentation on the results at your next meeting in June. So thanks to everyone who helped with the survey by either taking it or getting the word out for others to take it. Our next safety speaker series will be a week from today over lunch, Wednesday the 20th from 12 until 1:15. The topic is distracted driving from brain science to street design. Secretary Tyler spoke a bit about this Friday at the Safety Summit. But I encourage you to listen in over lunch if you can, and if you can't, look for it on the YouTube channel and try and make time for it. Happy to report that MetroPlan Orlando received the Community Outreach Award at last Friday's Central Florida Safety Summit. Always nice to receive that complimentary recognition, and compliments to the folks in Osceola County, and the venue that we had at the Lavender was very nice. It had a very good reception there. Work continues on the Lake to Lake Regional Trail. There was a group tour of the corridor back in early April, on April 10th. No one from MetroPlan was able to attend as we were hosting the Central Florida MPO Alliance that day. But Virginia, Alex, and I have met several times with Dale Allen since our last board meeting. We've met on April 15th, April 23rd, and again on May 7th. And I understand that the Regional Planning Council has submitted a grant application to assist in portions of the trail, developing design guidelines and such. So this project, as you know, has very broad regional support. I know those advocates for trails always are complimentary of the MetroPlan Orlando board and the support that you provide for that. We are now looking at several dates in the summer and in the fall for a second tour of segments of the trail. It didn't all get covered back in April on the 10th. So I'll continue to update you as I have updates. I participated in the MPOAC Institute on May 1, as Chairwoman Wilson mentioned. As the host location for the training, I was part of the program helping to educate on the role of MPOs. I was also to share with the group some specific information about MetroPlan Orlando and how we operate as a multi-county MPO. Others are always interested in hearing how we do that. We are beginning a refresh of our strategic plan. Just a reminder that the current plan was approved by the board in December of 2019. Then, of course, March 2020 came along and everything about work changed. But we have looked at that plan and believe there are many areas of the plan that still remain valid. For that reason, we intend to simply refresh what we already have. The previous two strategic plans involve significant board time away at off-site locations. The schedule that we've developed with our consultants and the scope limits board time and commitment with this one, but does include time from the executive committee. And just a reminder, the executive committee is the board officers and then mayors Dyer, Demings, Bates, and Woodruff, as well as Commissioner Smith representing MAC. So our consultants will be working with the assistance of you all, of the elected officials, over the next probably month and a half to schedule some virtual interviews with you. And then also likely to schedule an in-person meeting later this year, gearing up to have this done and presented at the December board meeting for approval. Separate from the refresh, but being done concurrently with that and with the assistance of our consultants, I'm completing an internal review of staff roles and responsibilities and job descriptions. There may be some changes there as well, and any changes will likely begin to roll out on or maybe a little before January 1st of 2027. Now, some sad news. Some of you worked with Harry Barley for a number of years. Others of you may just simply know him. But Harry served as the executive director here at MetroPlan from its inception in 1997 until his retirement in 2018. His family battled Alzheimer's disease for the past 16 years, well before his retirement from MetroPlan Orlando. But his wife, Leslie, passed away last Friday. I understand there will be a gathering of friends at a future date, likely to be in upstate New York. So please let us know if you'd like any contact information or anything for him, and we can provide that. Supplemental folders this morning include a couple of items. You'll find a copy of a truck parking study that addresses the nationwide problem of interstate ramp parking. So I thought I would include that for you. And then Gray Robinson's final report on the 2026 legislative regular session. On to the agenda review. At the March board meeting, during discussion on the TIP amendments for railroad crossings, a question was asked, I believe, by Commissioner Delary, having to do with the number of crossings that we're dealing with. And so included in your agenda packets, agenda item 10.9, it's on page 90 in your packets, is a DOT email response to that inquiry. So I just wanted to point that out so that you know we responded to that. So there are no other comments, Commissioner, on the agenda.
Thank you so much. We'll keep the Barley family in our prayers. and appreciate all the incredible detail and information. We are very grateful this morning to have Secretary Tyler with us for our FDOT update. And with that, you have the floor.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Madam Chair, and good morning, board members. It's great to be back. Thank you, Madam Chair, for mentioning and attending the steering committee of the safety strategic plan up in the villages. So it's important to Central Florida is a big place, but it's important for all of our communities to gather together, and so that getting up to the villages was certainly appreciative, where we showcased Sumter County. I was about to say Seminole County, but Sumter County, and all the efforts that they're doing to promote safety. So sticking with that theme, on Friday, May the 8th, down in St. Cloud, we held our 3rd annual Central Florida Safety Summit, which is a gathering to showcase the safety efforts across all of Central Florida at all levels, across all of our communities and partners, transportation departments, law enforcement, schools, as well as nonprofit organizations. And after 3 years of doing this, I can definitely say that together we are making a difference in our communities. We showcased some award winners at that. Director Hutman, has already showcased that MetroPlan Orlando won the Community Outreach Award for their overall safety website and outreach efforts. The website not only shares information outwardly, but invites people to engage. For example, they have the Be a Part of the Solution program, which was a difference maker for sure. We also recognized Osceola County for their community award. They adopted Vision Zero back in 2002, and they have developed and implemented a very aggressive action plan to bring that Vision Zero plan to life down in Osceola County. And then thirdly, Commissioner DeLaury was the recipient of our individual award winner. And I have worked with, I didn't get a chance, Commissioner, to say anything while you were being introduced and presented with something, presented with this award on Friday, but certainly I fully supported it, had a little bit of, say in who it was going to be. And you have consistently, for as long as you and I have been working together, you have consistently kept me appraised of what's going on in your communities, how it impacts your community members, your law enforcement, fire department, first responders, and you keep me on my toes when it comes to safety. I think, yeah. But I certainly appreciate your passion and your commitment to safety, and you're certainly deserving of that individual award winner for the 3rd annual Safety Summit. As part of my remarks at the summit, I talked about FDOT's Achieving Target Zero policy, which became effective in the spring of this year. And it focuses on 3 things: engineering solutions, educational campaigns, and community outreach efforts. And specifically, for each of these 3 focus areas, using data-driven research, innovative technology, and behavioral science to achieve measurable results. So this is significant because for the first time, FDOT defined what Target Zero is for our agency and what it means for us. And this policy will be incorporated into all of our other policies and all of our manuals that govern how we do business. And I want to reemphasize that we will be using data to support high impact projects, educational campaigns, and outreach activities. And as an example of a high impact outreach activity, I'm pleased to announce that this fall, when students come back for the fall semester, we're going to be starting the Smart Driving College Challenge right here in Orange County, which is an offshoot. It's a growth of trying this over in Volusia County with some colleges in Volusia County. We're going to be launching it this fall with Valencia College, UCF, Full Sail University, Orange Technical College, Rollins College, and Advent Health University. This program will be conducted over 8 weeks. Students will be encouraged and invited to download an app, and they will be rewarded for safe driving with gift cards. To maintain the momentum, prizes will be awarded throughout the challenge with weekly $25 gift cards and a $250 prize for standout drivers from each of the participating colleges. Again, this is being modeled after a national award-winning program that we conducted over in Volusia County with Embry-Riddle, Daytona State College, and Bethune-Cookman University. And during this challenge, it revealed, the differences in the focus of how these student drivers, because they are still students, are handling and braking among the different campuses. So it highlighted the opportunities for additional targeted safety education within those focus groups. So we're excited to bring that to Orange County this coming fall when the students come back to school. Before I close out, I want to talk about I-4 at Sand Lake Road. So this interchange that connects I-4 to International Drive, the International Drive area is one of the busiest interchanges in Central Florida. Over 115,000 vehicles travel through it every single day. And on Saturday morning, May the 2nd, crews opened a new ramp system at the I-4 Sand Lake Road interchange, providing drivers with a better way to get to Turkey Lake Road. So if you're westbound on Turkey Lake Road, drivers now use this new loop ramp on the right to reach Turkey Lake Road. The importance of this is that it removes the need to have left turn movements from westbound Sand Lake Road onto southbound Turkey Lake. All right, that amount of volume of people wanting to make that movement, it was backing up the entire interchange. And when you remove it, it also allows us to retime the signal and devote more green time to the other movements as well, making it much, much more efficient. If you're on I-4 westbound and you're getting off at Sand Lake Road, but you're intending to go to Turkey Lake Road, you now have your own ramp to do just that. So it has already made a marked improvement to the area. The ramp system is operating well. Our project team worked very closely with our RTMC as well as Orange County to monitor this area from the very moment that we've opened. We're still monitoring it today, making some adjustments and tweaks, but things are going very well. The work at the interchange is going to continue through 2027, but one of the busiest interchanges in Central Florida is already showing a safer, more efficient solutions, even while we're still building it. So we're very pleased with the result of that ramp opening. And Madam Chair, I'd be glad to take any questions.
Thank you so much. As the commissioner for that area where that interchange is, I just want to, I'm grateful. We get plenty of calls from constituents who aren't sure who's doing what. And so having that leadership, the strong leadership and a vision and seeing progress is so meaningful to them. Congratulations to our colleagues that were awarded, Commissioner Delary and of course the MetroPlan team at the Safety Summit. Are there any questions at this time? Thank you so much for that report. We move on now to our roll call and confirmation of quorum. Ms. Lisa Smith.
Yes, good morning. Anderson. Bates. Constantine.
Here.
Gomez Cordero.
Here.
Delary.
Here.
Demmings.
Here.
Dyer.
Here.
Espinosa. Gilbert.
Here.
Grieve.
Here.
Janer.
Here.
Kapalusas.
Here.
Meyer.
Here.
Scott. Simrad. Dallas or Smith.
Here. Scott's here.
Thank you. Ortiz. Uribe.
Here.
Wilson.
Here.
Woodruff.
Here.
Madam Chair, that concludes the roll call and we do have a quorum.
Thank you so much. All right, we'll move into our committee reports, beginning with the Municipal Advisory Committee. Commissioner Jordan Smith, you're recognized.
On behalf of Commissioner Smith, the Municipal Advisory Committee met on May 7th. MAC approved our March 5th meeting minutes. We then recommended approval of the amendment to the 2025-26 to 29-30 TIP. Due to a recent vacancy in the vice chair position, the MAC held an election for a new vice chair. We unanimously selected Mayor John Dallas. That would be me in the third person of Edgewood. His term will coincide with the chairs. The MAC received one presentation, MetroPlan Orlando's Vision Zero Central Florida. The MAC meets next on June 4th, 2026, and that concludes my report.
Thank you so much, Mayor. I apologize for calling the wrong name there. We'll move to our Community Advisory Committee, Ms. Judy Pizzo.
Good morning and thank you, Madam Chair and members of the board. I am Judy Pizzo, Chair of the Community Advisory Committee. At our April 22nd meeting, the Community Advisory Committee welcomed 3 of its 4 new appointed members, and thank you for helping to facilitate that. The committee voted to recommend approval of amendments to the Transportation Improvement Program, which include some items related to links. Members had several questions for the links representative at our meeting and have asked for more regular updates on bus projects in the future. We also had some robust discussion about transportation safety. First, we heard from Mr. Mike Wilson's presentation on speed, which was compelling and prompted several questions and comments. Then we received a presentation from Ms. Laura Buck on the Vision Zero initiative and the first year update on the safety data after the approval of the Regional Safety Action Plan. This also prompted many questions and comments. Committee members were especially interested in ongoing efforts to teach e-bike handling to students and make the program as widely available as possible. Our next CAC meeting will be held May 27th. That concludes my report.
Thank you so much. We'll move to the Technical Advisory Committee. Mr. Miles O'Keefe.
Morning, Chair, board members. The Technical Advisory Committee met a few weeks ago on April 24th. We did meet in person with a physical quorum present. Our action items, all of which were unanimously approved or recommended for your approval, included our February 27th, 2026 meeting minutes, an amendment to the Transportation Improvement Program, the TIP, and approval of the 2026 Call for Projects Working Group recommendations. We had but one common presentation shared with TSMO, and that was a status update on the Vision Zero for Central Florida. We did not have any TAC-only presentations. There were no public comments received. Our next meeting is May 29th at 10 a.m., and this concludes my report.
Thank you so much, Mr. O'Keefe. Our final report, committee report, Transportation Systems Management and Operations Advisory Committee, Ms. Christina Colon.
Good morning, Madam Chair. And members of the board. The Transportation System Management and Operations, or TSMO Advisory Committee, met on April 24th, 2026. Two items were approved at the February meeting. The first was the meeting minutes of February 27th. And the second was staff's request to amend the 25-26 through 29-30 TIP. We had two presentations. Eric Hill, MetroPlan Orlando, reported on the first meeting of the Traffic Signal Retiming Working Group. Members discussed current tactics and strategies for the retiming traffic signals and using data-driven applications to enhance the effectiveness of the retiming program. Beyond signal retiming, members agree to consider researching and demonstrating innovative treatments at intersections to improve safety and operations. And lastly, members agree to rename the program to Signal System Optimization Program and hold quarterly meetings virtually unless an in-person meeting is needed. The second presentation was by Jeremy Dillmore of FDOT District 5, and his presentation was on various data used by the DOT for TSMO operations with the goal of reducing time and cost. He presented several in-depth statistics and models used to evaluate data accuracy, and he provided use cases. The next meeting for the TSMO Advisory Committee is on May 29th at 8:30, and that concludes my report.
Thank you so much. We will from there move to our public comments on action items. Are there any public comments this time?
Madam Chair, we have not received any requests to speak.
If your public comments or if you want public comments and they don't pertain to action items on the agenda, you do also have a comment time for general public comment at the end of the meeting. And then we will move into our consent agenda. If there are no questions about this or anything to be pulled, I would like to ask for a motion.
Move to approve, Jana.
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, passes. Consent agenda item. Other action items this morning, we have the approval of amendments to 2026-2030 Transportation Improvement Program, our TIP program.
Good morning, Madam Chair, board members. I have 5 amendments for you today. The first two are related to railroads, and the first project adds $230,000 in federal funds for railroad and utilities work in 2026. The second one is a surface rehab at crossing on Eunice Avenue. It's an addition of $142,000 in federal funds for railroad and utilities work also in 2026. The next three are related to links. The first one adds $850,000 in transit infrastructure grant funds for Link's bus shelter program in 2026. The remaining two are also in 2026. And the second one adds $500,000 in transit infrastructure grant funds for bus acquisition project. And the last one adds $250,000 in transit infrastructure grant funds for digital signage program. And this concludes my first presentation to you. If there are no questions, I'm asking for your approval for the amendments into the transportation improvement program.
Thank you so much. Do we have any questions?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve.
All right, with no further discussion or questions, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
It's a roll call.
Oh, never mind.
Thank you. Anderson? Just yes or no? Thank you. Constantine?
Yes.
Gomez Cordero?
Yes.
Delari?
Yes.
Demmings?
Here.
Dyer?
Yes.
Espinosa? Gilbert?
Yes.
Reed?
Yes.
Janer?
Yes.
Papalusis?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Simrad?
Yes.
Dowlis?
Yes.
Ortiz? Uribe?
Yes.
Wilson?
Yes.
Woodruff?
Yes.
Madam Chair, the motion carried unanimously.
Thank you so much. We'll move into approval for information items. This is just.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. At this time, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving into other business and presentations, we will have a Central Florida Vision Zero update. Ms. Laura Balk.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, board members. I think we're all loose now. Let's see if we can keep the good times moving. Happy to be with you this morning to provide an update on what your safety team has been up to in support of our Vision Zero Central Florida initiative. To start, we have just a few newer faces in the crowd. So as a reminder, back in 2022, we were the recipients of a Safe Streets and Roads for All grant that we utilized to develop a regional safety action plan that covers our 3-county region. But we also worked with staff from each of our local partners, your staff, to develop local safety action plans. And so this first couple of slides are just a reminder of all of the great information that we have up on our now award-winning Safety Hub site. So everything from links to the regional and all of the local safety action plans, lots of great outreach and educational information from our kids safety activity book to an elected official resource guide if you want some tips and tricks on how you can best support our Vision Zero efforts, media kits, that sort of thing. So if you haven't checked it out recently, I encourage you to. One of the elements that's the most popular on our Safety Hub site is our crash data dashboard. That includes crashes from 2018 now through 2024. Very interactive. You can sort crashes by jurisdiction, crash type, severity. If you haven't had a chance to check that out, I encourage you to do so. So it was September of 2024 when we adopted that regional safety action plan. And so last fall, about a year after that, we kicked off our first annual report for our Vision Zero efforts. This allowed us an opportunity to start looking at some updated crash trends. When we did that initial action planning, the data that we had access to was 2018 through 2022. So we had a couple of additional years of data to start looking at how some of those trends are shifting. We were also able to document how we've been doing in terms of progress on the 35 or so actions in the Regional Safety Action Plan. And we worked with staff from all of our local partners to see how they're progressing through the actions in their safety action plans and documented that. And so looking at some of the actions that have been implemented so far, some of the safety projects that have been implemented over the last couple of years, sort of comparing those to some of what we were seeing in the crash trends, we were able to identify some areas of focus moving forward, thinking about maybe some of the actions that we had in later years in our plan, moving those up, starting to think through some of the areas where we may be shifting when we do our first major update to that safety action plan. So as a part of this annual reporting effort, there are two major things coming out of that. First is an executive summary. That's a PDF document, about 16 pages, high color, very easy to get through. I think you'll enjoy taking a look at that. That is actually separate from the safety side of what you have in front of you now, but there is a link to get to the Vision Zero annual report through that document. And then in addition to that executive summary, there's a story map for those of you who are the data wonks and really want to dive in and look at the interactive mapping and that sort of thing. So I encourage you to check both of those out as you have time. Another thing that we've been working on is before and after evaluations for safety projects specifically. We think it's really important that we start to do more of these so we can get a better understanding of which types of countermeasures are working within which contexts, where they're working best throughout the region, which are most cost effective, which should maybe be paired with other safety countermeasures. And so our effort recently has been on sort of twofold: developing a scope of services that we can use as an agency moving forward to do before and after evaluations throughout the region, but also hoping that that scope can be a template that our local partners can use for their before and after evaluations as well. We have sort of a draft ready now that we're going to be piloting on 3 projects, 1 in each county, just to make sure, see if there are any tweaks that we need to make to that scope of services, but that will be available after we're done with that effort. And then a companion piece to go with that scope of services is an evaluation matrix that has a lot of information that's great for sort of setting up that before and after evaluation, a ton of performance metrics that you can choose from depending on which countermeasures are a part of the project, thinking about how you set up what the before period and after period look like, some information on data sources, that sort of thing. So we're hoping a really good resource for all of us in the region moving forward. E-bike safety. Our chair talked a little bit about Winter Garden and Orange County are doing. I know throughout the region, all of us are thinking about how we can make e-micromobility safer. On this slide alone, we're sort of showing that uptick in motorized bicycle crashes that we started to see in particular in the post-COVID area, a huge uptick. And Mike reported out at, I believe, the last board meeting on some of the work that we're doing within that space. One of those elements focuses on education, in particular to middle schoolers and high schoolers. So we are utilizing an ABEA, or American Bicycling Education Association, online safety course. It's about 90 minutes, self-directed, and we are providing access to seats to that course. As a part of our effort, we've developed before and after tests so we can sort of get an idea of what the students understood about e-bikes and e-bike safety before and after taking it, as a means of us evaluating I don't know what I did, Lisa, I'm so sorry. I'm done. Thank you. I have to go, that's not me. We're at the beginning now. I'll keep talking while Lisa goes towards the end of the presentation. So we've been working with ABEA. We've identified some before and after testing so we can understand if that online education is the best way of us to deliver that sort of information to students. So we've been working with each of our school districts within the region to get this information out. Osceola County has already held a few different events to make this available for people, for students to come in and do this type of education after school. We're working with Orange County right now. We've been able to get the course into Canvas for all 3 school districts. And so Orange County is hoping to be able to deliver it to 6th and 7th grade classes at a couple of schools in the region in this 2-week period where they're not really doing any more learning. So it's a great opportunity for them to get in and do something with that time. So we're happy to be able to be offering this now. We sort of got started when the 2nd semester was already well underway, and I'm not touching anything. We can talk. Anyhow, we were very happy to be able to get the education resource out now. I will be back to report out on what we found from the evaluation, looking at those before and after quizzes. And then the intent is for us to offer this again in the fall when we'll have a full school year to sort of work with all school districts. And also, as was mentioned earlier, we want to make this available to as many people as possible. So some outreach to our virtual school as well. After that, I think I was going to talk about our research efforts. So we kicked back off. Back in the fall, we put out a white paper on e-micromobility safety. That was sort of a point in time look at existing policies, local, state, national, around e-micromobility safety, looking at some trends, and then looking at things that we can be doing to make things safer from both a policy, design, and education perspective. So that's up on the website already. That was previous slide. Now on this slide, we're just now wrapping up our second white paper. That one is looking at how we can coordinate as we are putting out our speed management devices to make sure that we are not negatively impacting emergency response times. We had a lot of really great conversations from the designers and planners in the region, along with our fire resource advocates and staff members. And so I think we have some really good information in that white paper that will be available soon. It's getting wrapped up right now. Will you advance it, please? I'm terrified. Thank you. So in terms of what we will be doing, what we're doing now and into the next couple of years, we'll be delivering on that second Safe Streets and Roads for All grant that we were awarded. That one, we executed the grant back in January. With this grant, there are sort of 4 key areas that we're focused on: additional outreach and education. We're going to be doing some supplemental data analytics, some of the topics that we were interested in as we were doing the initial safety action planning, but didn't have time or resources to dive into. We're looking into some of that now. The biggest chunk of that funds are being used on road safety audits on corridors on the high injury networks throughout the region. A little bit more on that on the next slide. And then with all of that information, we're going to be wrapping that up with some documentation for FHWA, but also setting ourselves up to that next major update for the Regional Safety Action Plan. We're now on the RSA slide. So we have 7 corridors that we're actively pursuing RSAs on right now. For one, we've already done the field review. The others, the field reviews are going to be happening over the next 2 or 3 weeks. We will be wrapping up these road safety audits over the next several months, wrapping up in the late summer, early fall. And we'll be coordinating with your staff members on the next tranche of RSAs. We're expecting to be able to deliver something on the order of 15 to 20. So stay tuned for more on that. And finally, Gary already shared this, but I wanted to encourage you all, if you have time, to join us for our next Safety Speaker Series webinar. That's next Wednesday at noon. That will be focused on distracted driving, as Gary mentioned. We have 2 speakers this time. One is going to focus on the psychology behind distraction, why it's so easy to be distracted. And then we'll come in with our second speaker who has some tips and tricks for us on the design side of things, how we can better design our facilities so it's harder to be distracted. So I think it's going to be a really good one. If you can join us live, I encourage you to do so. If not, our MetroPlan Orlando YouTube channel always has our speaker series on it. And with that, happy to answer questions.
Thank you so much. So I just want to give you an incredible amount of kudos for being able to actually stay focused while the slides were doing that. That was a lesson in distraction management, and my hat's off to you. I don't think I would have actually just started blurbing things out. So I'm going to open it up for questions now. Question for Commissioner Cordero. You're recognized.
Yes. Welcome.
For this presentation, I just want to say that in District 4, we are going through a rough time right now because we had recently 2 accidents with scooters, in one in Narcoossee Road and now one in Moose Park. Narcoossee Road was an accident and, was taken to the hospital, the student, and so, but the one this past Monday was a 14-year-old boy, and he died. I have been receiving a lot of phone calls from this boyfriend's parents, and since I have been very engaged with the community, it's very sad to see that we are always talking about safety, but still these things are occurring, and now we have families that are suffering the loss of their little kid. So I wanted to say also that one of the initiatives that District 4, my district, we did in Avalon, because it happened also, it was always in Timber Creek High School, and every time was there. So we all got together with the school board, since you mentioned also the school district, with the principal of the school and everything, because we want to not only educate the kids, but the parents as well, because it's, it's all, everybody has to be, in this thing. So I just wanted to say that thank you, for all these efforts. And so I'm pointing these safety, measures all around. And Agent Zero, thank you so much. And anything we can do as county, well, we are here also.
You're very welcome. Thank you. And for all of you, I know that in multiple places throughout the region, as I mentioned before, that there's work going on in this space. Anyhow we can support you, please let us know.
You're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You talked about e-bikes. Are you including e-scooters?
So the online course is e-bike specific.
I understand that, but the data that we're receiving,
Oh, yes.
does it include, because I think it should be whatever definition you want, it needs to be clear that it includes e-bikes and e-scooters.
Absolutely. And I will say one of the things that we are working through right now, we have an intern in place who's going through historical crash data. Our crash form currently does not have a checkbox for
I understand that.
right? So she's going back through the crashes to pull out those crashes that involve e-scooters, e-bikes, any type of micromobility, so we can better understand what's been happening, what those trends look like. So all of our safety efforts, we're focused on sort of e-micromobility generally, not just the
And then
e-bikes.
I'd like to speak to you offline to figure out what data you're getting for e-bikes and e-scooters.
Okay.
I don't want to get too granular here, but I'd like to understand it more because I don't know if it's age, if it's location. I'd like to understand that because it will make a difference. I mean, I walk a lot. I've actually been clipped twice by 2 e-scooters, and it's rather interesting. And I've been given it one finger salute once. So
Just the
it's
one time.
quite comical.
Thank you.
It happens.
Thank you so much. I know I said it at the very beginning, I'm gonna say it again. Orange County will be doing a work session on May 19th for anybody that wants to tune in for that, which I'm sure we're relying on so much of the MetroPlan work for part of that. And so that is a regional effort, even though it's a county discussion, because I believe we're all in this together in trying to find a safer way forward. I think with that, if there are no other questions, thank you so much for the presentation. All right, now I sort of want to do a drum roll on this one. Secretary Tyler has an update for us for advanced air mobility. And I think this was a hot topic for the legislature, as well as every conversation I have at every gathering I go to. So without further ado, Secretary Tyler, you have the floor.
Well, thank you again, Madam Chair. Good morning again, board members. But before I begin, I do want to recognize again that MetroPlan Orlando has done a phenomenal job when it comes to safety and this e-bike safety training program that you guys have developed. I'm very encouraged to see how that grows. I hope all of you, you find ways to use that in your community. That is something that is unique right now in this space. It's a gap that needs to be filled, and y'all have come up with a solution to fill that gap. So if it's going to work well, we will absolutely make sure that the lessons learned here in Central Florida are passed around the state, because e-bikes and e-scooters and the safety for using that new mode, which just has recently kind of emerged over the last several years, it needs our attention. So I applaud MetroPlan for that. So I'm actually going to switch gears to another emerging mode, which is advanced air mobility. So Director Hutman asked me to come and give an update on this, and it's taken me a few months to be able to get it into my schedule. And I think the timing is actually pretty darn good, because we are on the cusp, as we move into this summer, we are on the cusp of actually starting to see these new vehicles take flight right here in Central Florida as they start doing their testing and demonstration efforts. So I'm going to first start. I don't really have a slide presentation. I've got a video that I'm going to share, but you're looking at the slide that I've got. Most of it is going to be what I'm going to talk about, which is going to be fairly brief and high level, but I do want to make sure that everyone understands some basic things that we're trying to do with advanced air mobility. So let me first start with a definition. What is advanced air mobility? It's a rapidly emerging new sector of the aviation industry that aims to safely and efficiently integrate highly automated aircraft into the U.S. airspace. It is not a single technology, but rather a collection of new and emerging technologies applied to aviation,
particularly in new aircraft types using electric, hydrogen, and hybrid propulsion systems. AAM leverages cutting aircraft technology to create new modal solutions that don't exist today. And in simple terms, advanced air mobility brings a new way of moving people and goods using small aircraft that can take off and land from more places than traditional aircraft. And so FDOT's interests and our investments are going to be focused on reconnecting and restoring regional air travel in the state of Florida. We don't have a whole lot of options for regional air travel today, and that hasn't been the case over our history. And in fact, the first scheduled commercial air service in the country was right here in the state of Florida in 1914, connecting Tampa to St. Pete across Tampa Bay. At that time, the only options that existed were a 2-hour boat ride because the bridge wasn't there, or a 4-hour train trip up and around. All right. And so someone's used emerging technology, because flight was still in its infancy in 1914, to fill a need, fill a gap, use an emerging mode. Can you think of some similar challenges today? Are there any places that you would like to go, but it takes you, your options are, maybe it's not a boat ride. And there are even some train rides if you're using Brightline, but it still takes you 4 hours on Brightline, to get to South Florida. You can drive there in 4 hours. Wouldn't it be nice if you could actually fly there in a lot less time? So the way that our state works today is we have people moving around the state every single day, from Central Florida to Northeast Florida to Tallahassee to Tampa to Southwest Florida, Southeast Florida, and all variations in between. So there is definitely a need for this type of travel, and advanced air mobility, we believe, will create that opportunity to fill that gap. So AAM isn't necessarily a new concept in Florida. In fact, Florida has invested in the growth of this industry going back to 2021, when we began developing a strategic plan with local partners, regional airports, and our industry partners. This last summer, Governor DeSantis signed FDOT's legislative package, Senate Bill 1662, which contains key policies to establish advanced air mobility as an official mode of transportation. It also established dedicated plans for advanced air mobility and positioned Florida as a leader in next generation aviation technology. With this new authority, FDOT, we very quickly established Florida's aerial highway network. So literally highways in the sky, with one of the first corridors being the I-4 corridor between Tampa and Orlando, as well as connections down in South Florida. So we're right here in the middle of one of the first aerial networks in the state of Florida, in the country. We're right here, smack dab in the middle of it. In addition, with this new authority signed by the governor, FDOT was provided the framework to invest in the construction of vertiports, beginning with our first facility at SunTrax to support advanced air mobility research, testing, and deployment. So SunTrax was originally developed as a research sandbox to test connected and autonomous ground vehicles. When we first created it, we didn't have to insert the word ground, but I mean, now we're moving beyond just ground vehicles, and we're going to use it as a place to test aerial vehicles. And so that center, which is unique in this, not just country, but in this world, is located less than 50 miles away from where we are sitting this morning. And it is about to literally take off. So I don't want to mess anything up. Can you share the video, please?
At FDOT, we've been delivering complex, future-ready projects that connect our communities and power Florida's economy for over a century. When it comes to innovative and industry-leading technology, FDOT is leading the way. Built for the future, the SunTrax campus is a leading hub for modern transportation innovation, dedicated to the extensive testing of advanced solutions. This state-of-the-art center boasts the latest advancements in a multitude of transportation technology solutions, providing an optimal environment for testing and development. The newest addition is SunTrax Air, an emerging initiative that explores the integration of advanced air mobility into Florida's transportation ecosystem, positioning the state at the forefront of next-generation aviation technology. FDOT has built strong relationships with leading partners in this exciting new industry, providing a meticulously crafted vertiport site, a stepping stone into what's next in air travel. The foundation of these initiatives is the beginning of a phased, intelligent transportation network expansion across Florida, one that seamlessly blends ground and air mobility, scales with demand, and ensures the state remains a hub for transportation innovation and economic growth.
Very exciting stuff. And so those vertiports are on the ground. Thank you for that. We are inviting industry partners to come and start taking advantage of this facility. And with SunTrax Air coming online, we anticipate operational testing before the end of this year. We'll be doing that in partnership with industry, and we'll be launching pilot programs to demonstrate safety, reliability, and the real-world performance of advanced air mobility. And we'll be doing that not just at SunTrax, but in other places around Central Florida, with our partners. Several of them are sitting right here today with Orlando International Airport and Kissimmee Gateway Airport. So we are really excited about the future of this new mode. And I thank you for the opportunity to share this update with you today. I'd be glad to take any questions.
Very exciting. I do have a quick question to start out with about, because I have not been sort of in space where there's one of those types of air vehicles. What does the sound like?
It's very quiet.
Okay.
It's very quiet. And so that's advanced air mobility. Again, it's not a single technology, but it's an emergence, a confluence of several different technologies that are allowing lighter vehicles to get in and out of places that they couldn't get to before, and they're very quiet. Which also has been a challenge, for helicopters, conventional helicopters. An eVTOL, electric vertical takeoff and landing vehicle, can go just about anywhere a helicopter can go, but it doesn't have the noise. It doesn't have nearly as much of the downwash, so that you can get it into a different place that you can't get a helicopter into today.
Oh, that's incredible news. I would like to open it up for questions from the board. Commissioner Semrau.
Hi, good morning. Thank you so much for the presentation. So I did some quick research on this industry, and one, we've been asking for FDOT to fix roads for so many years, and the answer is we have no funding. In East Orange County, we have one of the most dangerous stretches of highway in the entire nation. That's an FDOT road. It's East Colonial Highway 50. These work great in tourism destinations, which we are. The problem is that it separates the rich who can afford to fly in these flights like this and puts them up in the air for, I think it's like $15 a mile, or in the city, it's $150 to get to an airport. I mean, they're very expensive modalities. Very few people can fit. You haven't fixed any of the major issues on the roads that are here. And now we're talking about spending our taxpayer money to put people up in the air. It feels very short-sighted. It's not a mass transit solution. It's a deflection of the money that could have been used for a solution on the road where the majority of the people and working families are, to put rich people up in the air to get them faster, get them places faster. I think that we should be focusing our money where we have the infrastructure on the ground. That's such a mess that nobody can get to work on time. We've got the most dangerous roads in the nation for pedestrians and bicyclists, and we're spending our money on air mobility travel. It seems very short-sighted and very disingenuous to address working family problems. Thank you.
Madam Chair. I certainly appreciate the perspective.
Right. I also just want to say, in the research too, it sucks massive amounts of energy off of the grid, and we're already raising taxpayers' rates on energy. Orlando City Utilities had to do it. Everybody is getting nickeled and dimed everywhere from the gas pumps to the food. I don't know. That's my thoughts.
We certainly do have a lot of transportation challenges across our state and in Central Florida. And at FDOT, we are working on every single one of them. We believe that the best way to address our challenges is to be as diversified as much as we can. To this day, and for the foreseeable future, the great majority of the $15 billion budget that DOT has over this year goes, to highways. And that's I don't see that changing in the foreseeable future, but we are diversified across our portfolio. And that
Secretary,
includes.
just like to say, in that most dangerous spot, I'm sorry.
Commissioner, will you let him respond to the?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I just wanted to put into perspective that we are investing across all modes. And we also invest in emerging modes, including, other activities like, autonomous vehicles and robo taxis that are coming, to Central Florida. As people change how they move around, FDOT needs to be aware of it, in tune to it, and help figure out how we can make it part of our transportation ecosystem. State Road 50 is absolutely a top priority for District 5. It's a top priority for MetroPlan Orlando, and it continues to be funded. And we will be going to construction on that, I believe, in 2028. So relief is coming. We do have many transportation challenges across the region, across the state. We have more challenges and needs than we have funds to be able to do them. So we have to be very strategic about where and when we invest. And we are purposeful about every single dollar, even when it comes to advanced air mobility and helping to figure out if this new mode can be a real solution for the state of Florida. And keep in mind that the industry or the research that you refer to, a lot of the investment that has already been made has been private investment in the development of these vehicles and the development of this technology. The taxpayers' investment is very, 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 very modest. But what the state of Florida brings is leadership at the state level, both in the legislature and in the executive branch, to be able to create an environment where the state of Florida can be the place where this technology is being demonstrated and brought to commercialization first. It's going to take time for it to turn into a mode that everyone can afford, right? Even aviation in general took time for it to be a mode that everyone could afford. But I would imagine that most people sitting around this table and listening to me has used a plane and has flown, in their lifetime. So we do believe that it's going to take time, but over time it will become an affordable choice for Floridians that choose to make that choice. And when we look at, I-4 Express and Brightline, that also brought new choices to Central Floridians that cost more than what they were normally paying. People are choosing to pay a little bit more to be able to get to where they want to go more reliably, more quickly, more comfortably. So with those things in mind, we are going to continue to see if we can't take advanced air mobility to the next level.
I think Mayor Dyer may also have a question or comment.
Sorry. Secretary, I'm just on the flip side of that. I want to thank you for embracing future technology. I like to think of us as a future-ready community, and if we embrace the technology, they're going to fuel jobs in the future and perhaps become an industry cluster for our community. It's important that we do that. The airport has 2 vertiport sites on its master plan already, so we're ready to go at Orlando International. We want to be a great partner for the state in doing that. We've been working with a group from NASA on the future readiness for advanced air mobility. So I just want to thank you for the leadership in the area. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that's another question.
How do we want to do it? ladies first. please.
No, while the secretary's here, I know how difficult it is internally for fighting for money for us at the state level. And I just want to thank you when you look at the amount of projects that are going on here and the innovation and what y'all have done. Just what you talked about at Sane Lake, which you did down by adding a temporary lane that helped on I-4. Y'all are being innovative as all these projects are ongoing and making changes that make it better for us. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you for fighting for this region, for being a voice for us, not just on money, but on safety. Just am very grateful for what your team is doing. And I could tell we know what the coordination is at the airport. But to sit around this table and see what the coordination is with all of our partners, it's pretty incredible what your team is doing, and I appreciate your leadership.
Thank you. I believe we have a comment or question from Commissioner Gilbert.
Yeah, I just second Mayor Dyer's comments here. We're in a technology era, and new technology is going to bring costs down. If you look at these phones, you know, the first one I had a battery pack to it, and you had to carry it around. And now it's some. So I'm excited that Florida has this. Vertical is a way to travel in the future. I look at the Jetsons when I was a kid, and I imagine that happening, and I feel that's going to happen, and I'm excited about it. I'm excited that Florida is one of the first states in our region to do this. So I'm excited to hear the future of this, and I certainly do think this is the future, and it will replace cars at one point. So thank you for being innovative. I know everything costs money, but I think it's going to save us money once we don't have to build roads where we can use the airspace. So thank you very much. I yield back.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Delory.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I'm not trying to keep on talking about this one subject, but first of all, thank you. I think it's important that we look at all different aspects of not just transportation, but technology, because it does take time for technology to emerge. And I'll tell you, there is no silver bullet. In fact, what we all hold in our hands here, called a cell phone, most people may not realize it, but the technology actually came up in 1942. There was a lady by the name of Hedy Lamarr. Hedy Lamarr actually immigrated to this country, and she helped us with the technology that we use today. She gave this patent. This patent was established in 1942. And if she didn't develop that technology in 1942 and have that patent, we wouldn't be sitting here with a cell phone 60 plus years later. So I know that we're all excited about different types of technology and looking at everything, and it's going to take time, and the actual market will bear what will happen. And free enterprise is what this country is made of, and it's brought us to the forefront. And yes, we all want to get our roads widened, and I got a list of them like we all do, and it just will take time, and I'm sure that the market will bear what it's going to bear, and we just have to be patient. There is a plan, and there is no one silver bullet. And thank you, Hedy Lamarr.
Thank you so much. Commissioner Zainer.
Secretary Tyler, I find this fascinating. I too grew up in the age of the Jetsons, and I said the Jetsons has arrived when I saw the news, and I've been following this very closely. As you know, in Osceola County, we're all about high technology and new technologies. And so I think that this is going to be the future of mobility in and around our region. So it's very exciting to see this happening. And I just want to put it out there, you know, we have Neo City that we are embracing technology, and I think it would be a good place for us to maybe look at testing and having a vertiport in the future, because I do believe that it's kind of just like an express lane. Every car that takes an express lane, whether you choose to use that or not, gets a car off of the local lane. So any other type of mode of transportation that we could have takes a car off the road, and I think we should all welcome and embrace that, because if we don't embrace new technologies, we see what happens to the places that don't embrace new technologies. It's the old unfortunately, coal mining towns that, you know, get left behind. So it's very exciting to know that we're in a region that is embracing this and looking forward to the future. So I just want to thank you for your efforts on that and put it out there about Nia City because it's you know up and coming and it's all about technology and I would love to see this Sun Tracks.
Yes, thank you so much. I was going to say maybe there's an opportunity for the board at some point to go visit Suntrax and maybe see firsthand if there's a, you know, I think it would be a great opportunity for communication for us to be able to share with our constituents.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Secretary Tyler, thank you very much for your leadership in this lane. And I would just like to tag on the comment you made. A few months back, we had invited the air mobility industry into the Expressway Authority meetings. And you're spot on. I mean, the lion's share of investment in this industry is from the private sector. And there's a lot of competing companies that are out there putting these efforts together on technology, what the energy is, how they propel the vehicles. But I commend you, the DOT in the state of Florida, on putting these, having the vision to put the guardrails and the you know the regulations around it and kind of thinking ahead. Because if we don't embrace this and kind of you know, foster this, it's going to go to another state, another region of the country. And I mean, I'm personally always love seeing Florida lead the way. So kudos to you. So appreciate that.
Thank you so much. If there are no further comments, I will finish. I too believe that we can not continue to look to the future road expansion for our solutions. And so seeing alternatives to adding lanes, gobbling up more precious land and forest is, to me, gives me some optimism as well. So I appreciate being on the front line of that and providing some exciting things to be able to talk to our constituents about for the future. Thank you so much for the share. I will get with Mr. Hutman about potentially scheduling maybe a field trip or something, if that's great. Thank you. And then we have public comments, general public comments, if there's anybody that has signed up. Ms. Lisa?
Yes, Madam Chair, we have some request speakers online. The first is Giancarlo Rodriguez, and you have 2 minutes.
Good morning. Can you all hear me? Oh, is that a yes?
Yes, we can hear you, Giancarlo.
Excellent. Yeah, good morning, everybody. Hello, MetroPlan Orlando Board. My name is Giancarlo Rodriguez. I live at 1647 East Colonial Drive, Orlando, Florida 32803. I'm with Sunrise Orlando, youth-led climate organization fighting for a more affordable, walkable, and sustainable Orlando. I have a background in urban planning, and I'm a planning and zoning commissioner in Orange County. Rent and transportation are the biggest costs working families in the Orlando region are facing, and these costs have been rising. I'm concerned the air mobility proposal will only serve those with money and resources, while the majority of our region, working families who face rising costs, traffic, and commute times, will see no direct benefit. I hope you all will consider affordability and the needs of the majority of our population as you further develop the air mobility plan. With the sales tax not moving forward, Orange County currently does not have a plan for long-term local funding for rapid transit expansion, being bus rapid transit and rail in the region. A coalition of community members and organizations has been working on how to make transportation fast, safe, and affordable for all through the STAR Rapid Transit Plan. The STAR Plan is a grassroots initiative to fund buses and trains in Orange County. The plan is inspired by the Miami-Dade SMART Plan, which has been able to deliver funding for bus rapid transit and rail through tax increment financing and other diverse funding options. We've been speaking to over 100 community members in 2 town halls, along with having gotten 1,500 petitions in support of the STAR Plan. We have been updating the plan based on feedback and are planning to do more town halls in the summer. The 8 corridors in the STAR Plan we identified came through conversations with MetroPlan Orlando, Orange County Commissioners, FDOT, and more. And the corridors that we're advocating for rapid transit expansion are Colonial, Semron, Orange Blossom Trail, International Drive, Silver Star, Kirkman, the Sunshine Corridor, the Sunrail Corridor. The STAR Plan is continuing to develop, and we hope to have your feedback to improve. We're asking for the Orange County Board of Commissioners to pass an ordinance establishing the STAR Plan, and we will need ratification by MetroPlan Orlando in order to fully realize the plan. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And I've linked a one-pager in the Zoom too. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, John Carlo. I appreciate you making public comment today. Lisa, do we have any other public comment?
It's Pedro Rodriguez Diaz.
Hello, my name is Pedro Rodriguez Diaz. I live on 1103 Ensenada Drive, and I want to make a comment specifically towards the air mobility. I like that we're trying to find an alternative to expanding roads. However, I have major concerns as based on what I've seen and from what I've heard from FDOT and from SunTrax regarding the air mobility plan, it does not address the core problems that similar systems we've had decades ago in more dense cities where there was even more potential ridership suffered and led to collapse. Even in that period, we had new technologies like the rotodynes, which were meant to make it more fuel efficient, allow for more capacity, and even that couldn't save it. Um, I think it's less of a technology will save us with regards to air mobility or even rapid transit. It's mainly down to fundamentals, as the reality is a matter of scalability rather than can we provide an alternative by using air to handle our transportation problems. And we need to look more towards what has been established in the US and not just in the US, but here in Florida and how we've grown in the state in the last few decades. And that is being through rail, bus rapid transit systems. And we've seen this all across the world, not just in the US, Canada, or Mexico, or even Europe. We're seeing this in other regions such as Delhi, Morocco, and even other Arab countries. So, and I want to ask on some questions for the STAR plan, specifically, if Orange County passes the STAR plan, how will funding be distributed throughout the corridors?
Thank
Will
you,
it be
Mr.
determined?
Diaz.
Oh, sorry.
That's time for public comment. And with the having already gone over on our meeting time, I'm
We
concerned
have
about
one more.
one more. Okay,
It's
thank you so much.
Nicholas Natale, Natale.
Mrs. Holly?
Good morning. I'm Nicholas Natali. I live at 10021 Shortwood Lane, 32836. I'm with Sunrise Orlando, and I just wanted to also speak in favor of Sunrise's STAR plan to promote more mass transit options in our community with bus, rapid transit, and rail. I just actually dropped my mom off at the airport this morning. I was lucky. Traffic was pretty light. Only took me like 45 minutes round trip, but I know I've dropping other people at the airport's taking me. I've been stuck in the line for a long time, and just having an air taxi would not eliminate any sort of like problems going to there, like congestion at the airport. Probably be more congestion in the airport since those are the only two places you would be able to get there. But what would help would be have the Sunshine Corridor, a train that specifically goes to the airport. I could have just dropped my mom at the convention center, which isn't too far from where I live, and it would have been a much quicker trip for me and would have been less cars on the road and be a much more pleasant experience just in our community if we just have more options for people where they're at, not just like, was it just four people at a time in an air taxi? Um, so that's all I had to speak about. I hope we can work with the Metro Plan Board to move more of these mass transit options in the future. And I look forward to building a brighter future for Orlando. Thank you.
Oh, sorry. Thank you so much for sharing public comment today for our public participants. Are there any more public commenters in the queue?
No more. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move to board member comments. Try to make it brief since we're way over time. Are there any?
Commissioner, I just needed to make a correction on public record. The funding for FDOT in East Orange County was done through loan that Orange County gave FDOT so that it could still be delayed but done by 2028. So I just wanted to make sure that when we said that we're funding it, yes, we are. Orange County is doing a loan to continue the progress because FDOT didn't fund it. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other board member comments at this time? All right, just as a reminder, our next meeting is June 10th, 2026. And with that, no further board comments. This meeting is now adjourned.
Yeah. You guys have a great